Hello my reptilian friends, I'm Azalea and today we're carrying on with some more Heart of the Woods. Last we left off, Madison here ended up going into the forest looking for Tara presumably, but she didn't quite find what she wanted, and then Abigail showed up. We'll just be carrying on from there, so without further ado, let's just jump right in. I'm not cold. I'm not warm either. I'm not anything. I'm not even sure I'm awake. All I can see is vast, profound blackness. I realize my eyes are shut. Are they frozen shut? I try to move my arms to rub my face, but those feel frozen too. With great effort, I manage to wrench my eyes open. I'm flat on my back. Right above me is a familiar curved wood ceiling. The grey smudges in my peripheral vision are the pews where I sat and read with Abigail just days ago. I'm in the church. I try to remember how I got here, but all I have are glimpses of what happened. Waking up alone. The mare dropping by unannounced. Following Tara. Not Tara. Even nearly immobile, a shiver creeps up my spine at the thought of that thing. And after that, it comes back to me as an avalanche, running, stumbling, and falling. And being so cold. I can recall the dread as it happened, as I gave up, when strength left my body and my eyelids couldn't bear being open any longer. But how did I get from there to here? It's the sound of rustling cloth from beside me. I force my head to turn to look. And there she is, warm, radiant, just an arm's length away. Abigail. I blink, expecting her to vanish, to be a figment of my imagination. But when my aching eyes open once more, she's still there. Worry wrinkles her face. She saved me, didn't she? There's no other explanation. I muster the strength to smile up at her. She smiles back, though it doesn't reach her eyes. Hello, Madison. I'm glad you're awake. In the otherwise silent church, her voice rings out like a bell, the first words I've ever heard her say. I can hear her. We can speak to each other. Understanding pierces through my exhaustion. With that understanding comes a whole cascade of realizations. A million feelings rush through me, and I don't know what order to process them. Two concepts stand out among everything else. Her voice is lovely, soft and gentle like she is. I must be dead. Abigail. I mumble out the only coherent thought that I have. She slides from the bench she was sitting in to the ground, kneeling on the floor beside me. That's right. I'm here. She leans over me, the serene portrait of a heaven-sent angel. She's here. That can only mean one thing. My head doesn't hurt. My back isn't sore despite spending lying on the cold stone floor for hours. I can hear and speak with Abigail. I died, didn't I? And you saved me and brought me back here? She rubs her face, a pained look on it that she can't brush away. You're not quite dead, but you're not alive either. Rather, you're somewhere in between life and death. Like me. That's the best way I can put it. I can tell that her tone is supposed to be optimistic, but to me, she sounds entirely too cheerful for someone narrating my own demise. Still, I suppose this is better than the alternative. Then, thank you. Her smile gets a little bit smaller. Please don't mention it. Really, I'm sorry that we hadn't been just a little bit faster. If we had arrived sooner. She looks away, guilt twisting her face. It's okay. It's not your fault. Even in my addled state, I know that much. I shut my eyes, hoping that this might be a dream, and that when I open them, I'll be safe and sound in my bed at the cabin. I'm not, of course. There's nothing above me but stone. I force myself to sit up. The motion catches her attention and Abigail lunges forward, ready to catch me if I fall. Oh, don't strain yourself. But there's still no pain or soreness. Instead, it's like each individual part was switched off, and I have to reactivate them. Maybe that's not far from the truth. Once I've sat up, I'm able to stand without any issue. The heaviness falls away like a blanket. I think I'm okay. To demonstrate, I pace back and forth a couple steps, feeling like I'm just stretching my legs. I reach out and flex my fingers, staring at their strange, glimmering transparencies. The whole time, she watches intently, poised to intervene if anything goes wrong. Nothing does. I'm fine, relatively speaking. I look towards Abigail for approval with the most earnest smile I can muster. She visibly relaxes. I then sit down on one of the pews. Abigail sits down beside me. It's bizarre. Despite years of existential dread, I don't know how to feel about my own past tense death. Well, Abigail did say that it's not quite death. It's just not exactly life, either. Obviously, it's got to be a bit more complicated than that. But right now, it's helping to soften the blow a little bit. I look down at my hands. They're normal and clean, not bloating and turning purple like in the last few moments. The rest of me seems similarly plain. Apparently I was well preserved. There's one difference I wonder about, though. I press my finger to the stone that I'm sitting on. Or at least, I try to. But my hand just passes through. It doesn't feel like anything. Right. Next to me, Abigail does the same thing, pressing her hand in up to her wrist. She giggles, and my heart skips a beat. I'd forgotten how it feels at first. It's kind of wondrous. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Once you get used to it, it's really quite convenient. It'll just take a bit of time. Abigail stands and gives me a huge smile, probably not realizing just how scary that thought is to me. I don't really want to spend however long it takes to get used to it like this. But she's clearly excited to talk. I am too, regardless of the circumstances. So I won't spoil the moment. Yet. How long has it been since then? Since I... you know. Even thinking of the word died causes my throat to constrict with terror. It's not death, I remind myself. If I can feel afraid, then it can't be death. It's been over a day. You've been unconscious this entire time. I was afraid that perhaps I'd done it wrong, that you might not ever wake up. But here I am. I can see her eyes sparkle with tears. Despite the fact that I'm standing right here, even the thought of my demise almost makes her cry. Yes, here you are. How did you do it? I I remember thinking that I was going to die for sure. She looks away from me, fidgeting with her dress. As I said, we arrived too late to save your life. The cold had already set in, and you were so far from home. But we were able to save your spirit, your soul, the important part of you. And that's what you are now. A spirit? She nods. That's what you are too, right? Another nod. Exactly. Her voice is gleeful. I can tell she's excited by this. I can't blame her. After 200 years of solitude, I'm sure that I would be too. But for me, well, this is a nightmare, wrapped in irony. I came to Eisenfeld as a skeptic, and now I'm this. It's so overwhelming. What will my parents say? All my friends back home? And what about everything else I left behind? I never prepared a will or anything like that. I don't know what to think, what to feel. I suppose I should be grateful that I'm not truly dead, but at the same time, I don't know what I'm missing out on. Maybe it would have been preferable. I wish I could have at least said goodbye, especially to Tara. There's so much left unsaid. Wait, Tara. With a jolt, I turn to face Abigail. She flinches at how suddenly I move. Do you know if Tara's safe? My friend, the one who came here with me. I thought I was following her into the woods, but it was... The image of that fake Tara comes to mind, and with it a wave of dread. The memory of it is repulsive simply in how false it was, how unnatural. She's fine. As far as I know, she was never in any danger at all. I'm so sorry, Madison. You were tricked. Right. I relax a little bit. Tricked. Tricked by whom? Abigail looks uncomfortable once more. I'm not sure what name she uses now. The mayor of the village. Whatever you know her as. Evelyn. So she's responsible. I'm not surprised in the least. The way she always seemed like a snake, coiled and ready to pounce. The bad feeling I got every time I interacted with her. She must have come by the cabin just to scope me out. She had probably been planning this all along. I shudder. Who is she? Really? Why would she want to kill me? I'll explain it later, but I promise, you don't have to worry about her anymore. Clearly that's supposed to make me feel better, but it doesn't. Yeah, she's not a threat anymore, but only because she succeeded. I want to understand. I need to understand. Why would she want me dead? I guess I'll find out in time. I just have one other question. Earlier, when you were talking about saving me, you kept saying, we. Who else? Now her eyes regain that previous mischievous gleam that I've started to recognize on her. Someone special. I'll take you to meet them, if you feel you're ready for it. I think so. There's nothing to be accomplished by sitting around feeling sorry for myself right now. I've spent enough of my time in Eisenfeld doing that as it is. Plus, I'm curious to see who might have helped Abigail. Who else could have known about her this whole time, yet kept her a secret? I stand up, and absent-mindedly offer a hand to Abigail to help her up too. She takes it, and drops it immediately. Eyes wide and awestruck, she stares as if I'd sprouted a tentacle from my arm. Tears spring to her eyes, seeping out to form a thin river down her face. What is it? What's wrong? Did I hurt you? Your hand.
I can feel it.
She's right. It hadn't even registered as different to me. But for the first time since we've met, I can actually touch and feel her there. She grabs my hand again, not standing. She closes her eyes as her fingers roam over mine, taking in the sensation. With anyone else, anyone on Earth, it'd be awkward. But somehow, with Abigail, I don't mind. It's a little endearing, in fact. After a moment, she seems to realize what she's doing. With a yelp and a sheepish expression, she lets go.
I'm sorry, Madison. I just got so carried away for a moment.
It's fine, really. My skin still tingles with the feeling, vivid because of the absence of anything else. Abigail also gets to her feet, without my help. Together, we face the doors of the church. They look like they've been untouched since I was last year with Morgan and Tara. I wonder how they're taking it. I wonder if they even know yet that I'm gone. It's quite possible Tara hasn't even come by the cabin. It'll be days before she knows. I push those thoughts out of my head, though. It doesn't make a difference at this point. I'm still alive and cognizant. At least in some capacity. And as long as that's true, there's hope that maybe I can get out of this situation. All I can do is hope and learn. Swallowing my fear as much as I can, I take the first step towards the door. Should we go meet your friend then? It's calm outside. In the day or so that's passed, the weather seems to have also mellowed out. A thick layer of fresh snow coats everything, looking fluffy and inviting. A few clouds darken the sky overhead, but are nothing compared to the maelstrom that I got caught in. The occasional flakes that fall seem serene, not threatening. Of course, they pass right through me. Abigail leads me into the woods. I try not to pay attention to how I can't hear my footsteps in the snow, or how the cold doesn't bother me. It's convenient, sure, but it's wrong. The two of us walk side by side, deeper and deeper into the forest. This will be the farthest I've ever gone, since previously I'd never passed the church. Just like Morgan a few nights ago, Abigail seems to know exactly where she's going. Abigail, can you tell me a bit about what it's like now, being a ghost and all? Abigail's face lights up and she claps her hands together. Her steps become an eager skip.
Of course, I'd be happy to.
She clearly means it.
Where to begin? I found it to be quite convenient, personally. As I said before, we're not ghosts per se. Or at least, not in the conventional way. Which is to say, we're not dead. It's more like we're somewhere between life and death. You and I are now fundamentally bound to the forest, and to everything else in it. In the forest, everything is connected.
She frowns deeply, puffing out her cheeks.
This is harder than I thought.
I laugh. I guess even after centuries, she never expected she'd have to explain all of this to someone. It's fine. Take your time.
Everything in the forest is connected. The trees, the grass, the birds, the foxes, everything. And that includes you and I, too.
Connected? How? Abigail chews her lip as she tries to think of how to explain it. A frown returns, deeper than before. Finally, she just shrugs.
Magic.
Magic. That makes sense. Pleased, Abigail nods. I still don't know what to think. I've only just woken up. I don't know how long it'll take for me to process everything and accept it. Or if I ever will. Everything she says makes sense, on a conscious level. I'm sure I could ace a test if someone were to ask me questions about it. But when I stop to think about how it affects me, about how these are now the restrictions and limitations that bind me, I stumble over nothing and clutch at my chest, feeling sick. But it's an impotent gesture. It doesn't help me feel any better. How? How can I be dead? How did this happen to me, of all people on Earth? This isn't fair. It isn't fair. I never wanted any of this. I never even wanted to be here. I can't keep my thoughts from spiraling. Every time I try to think about it, I'm just met with memories of dying and of fear. Fear for myself, and for what the future and what it might hold. Abigail rushes over, rubbing my back as she croons in my ear.
Madison, it'll be alright. I promise. I know it's a lot to take in, but it'll be okay. I'm here for you. I'm here.
I'm here. She repeats those words over and over, stroking my back until the moment passes. Dizziness fades in waves, and I slowly stand back up. In all, my little episode must have lasted seconds at most, but it felt so long.
Madison, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine now. Or at least better. Thanks. The hand doesn't leave my back.
Are you sure? We don't have to keep going right now. We could save this for another day.
I brush away the notion. It's fine. Let's keep going. If I just sit and do nothing, I'm sure I'd feel even worse.
If you're sure.
We resume our trek. The silence drags on for a while. Abigail shoots me glances every now and then, as if I'll disappear if she looks away for too long. In a morbid way, it's kind of funny. I looked at her the same way not too long ago. But she was bright and radiant, and I'm dead, I guess. Brings a question to the forefront of my mind. Earlier, Abigail stops. I try to avoid eye contact. You said something earlier about Tara. How it wouldn't be possible for Tara to even see me.
Correct.
She speaks with measured words. Despite how excited she's been, she's visibly holding herself back, like any wrong word will set me off again. It's not too far from the truth. But I was able to see you, even before all of this happened. So why couldn't she see me? Abigail lights up again, a look of pride beaming across her face.
That was projection. I've had a lot of practice. I'd be happy to teach it to you too, but it took me some time to learn.
I see. Decades. Abigail laughs nervously, trying to hide her slip. We lapse into an uneasy silence again. I take deep breaths, trying to distract myself from the hundreds of questions weighing on my mind. But my breaths feel empty. The lack of cold wind glaringly absent if I focus on it. So, I focus on Abigail. She leads the way confidently. A passive smile rests on her face, and she looks more at ease now than I've ever seen anyone be. Every step she takes seemed to push us forward, further than any natural pace. The words she said earlier replay in my head, about how the forest will help take us to our destination. We pass through a tree, but when I look back, it's meters away, if not out of sight completely. Magic. Being able to simply pass through any obstacles we encounter makes the walk much faster. Even so, I automatically step over debris, or turn my shoulder completely to avoid scraping the trunk of a tree when I can. Feel the heaviness in my chest start to fade as we trek on. Abigail catches my glance and smiles warmly. I smile back, genuinely now. Did you spend much time in the forest when you were alive?
I did. However, I never traveled very far. Why do you ask?
I was just thinking about how you know your way around so well. It kinda reminds me of the girl I met here in the village, Morgan.
I've had plenty of time to see it all. It's simple too, once you know how to do it. As long as you know where it is you're going, the forest will guide your way there. I'm certain you'll get the hang of it someday.
I force an agreeable smile. In spite of everything, talking feels good. Talking about anything. So I try to keep the conversation going. What was Eisenfeld like back then?
Much the same as it is today, as far as I can tell. Quiet and isolated. We rarely had any visitors. Even news of the outside world, or the rest of the country, was slow to arrive. But I longed for it, for the stories that would occasionally make their way to us. Sometimes friends of my father would head to the city for a few weeks, taking the goods that we had grown and made to trade, and bringing back things we lacked. And they'd return with gifts for all of the children, my sister and I, or the little boy across the road. Gifts and stories about wondrous devices they'd seen, or about the marvelous people they'd met.
Her steps slow and then come to a stop, and her eyes take on a far-off, dreamy look.
When I was alive, I always wished to see it for myself someday. Instead, I had to satisfy myself with books and with other people's stories.
Her voice trails off, ending with a hum of satisfaction, remembering something but not speaking it. I wait quietly. It doesn't feel like the kind of moment that I should interrupt. Soon enough, she looks over at me, with what I've come to think is her typical smile.
I'm sorry, I hadn't really thought about these things in a while.
It's okay. I hope they're not painful memories. She shakes her head.
These ones aren't. What about you? There are so many things that I want to know, but I hardly know where to begin asking.
Abigail points up to the sky, devoid of any clouds right now.
Machines soar overhead day and night, but I've never known what they are. We're watching as Eisenfeld becomes more modern, but not understanding. I want to understand.
She looks at me expectantly, like I could quickly rattle off all the major inventions since her time and how they've changed our lives. From the way the corners of her eyes glimmer with tears, it's clear just how badly she wants to know. It must be horribly frustrating. She mentioned machines overhead. She must mean airplanes and satellites. How unbelievable would it sound to her that enormous metal craft can fly through the sky and carry hundreds of people? Or about cars, or just about everyone owns one. I'd need another 200 years and then some just to catch her up on what she's missed. And thinking about that, just a second, I feel like maybe I understand her loneliness a little bit better. Abigail quickly straightens up, maybe realizing that she was being kinda childish. She adjusts her impeccable collar and dodges my eyes.
I'm sorry. Again, that can wait.
You're fine. I'm sure I'd feel the same way in your position. After we meet your friend, I'll tell you everything you want to know. Or at least, everything I can. I'm not exactly the best storyteller, and I'm not very good at explaining why things work, but if that's still enough... I phrase it like a question, even though I already know what her answer will be. Sure enough, she springs toward me, skipping past like a stone.
Oh, would you? I'm sure you're wonderful at telling stories. I could tell from the way you read to me back at the church. Do you remember?
Like I could forget. That's a day that I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Is it? Why is that?
She crowds up close to me now. To be honest, she reminds me a bit of a film camera. Zooming in, then out, then leaping past to focus on something else. Well, that was the first day that we spent together, right? And that's when you showed me your name. Abigail goes very still. Several times, she looks like she's on the verge of saying something. Her mouth fluttering or her half gesturing something. But each time she stops.
I suppose it was. I just didn't realize it was that significant to you.
Of course it was. That day changed everything for me. I bite my tongue from saying more. Things didn't exactly change for the better. Deeper and deeper we go, and the forest gradually grows quieter. The rustling of creatures underfoot get less and less frequent, and then stop entirely. The birds chatter less and then not at all. Even the wind settles down. Abigail is the only one who doesn't act any differently. She still hums to herself, or glances over her shoulder to make sure I'm still there. Like I have anywhere else to go. As we get further into the woods, the snow is thinner, and some places are totally without it. There are even a few patches of green, something that I'm pretty sure shouldn't be possible given the weather. The trees, which have been growing claustrophobically close together, start to spread out a bit more. I gasp when I see what's ahead of us. A grove of immense trees, larger than any I've seen before, lies before us. Like the redwoods back in America. They're so huge as to seem to hold up the sky. Totally bereft of snow, a few defiant branches hold leaves. They cast shadows over Abigail and I, and everything around us. An aura of life pervades the area. My skin prickles. The sensation is vivid, running up my arms like a spark. More than the church. Where we are now feels like a holy place. Something sacred and primal. As we pass by, I have the distinct feeling that I'm being watched from all sides. The back of my neck is slick with sweat, and I brush my forehead as the pressure of being observed starts to hit me harder. What is this place? I don't mean to, but my voice comes out as a whisper.
We're at the center of the forest now. These trees are the oldest ones here. They're the ancestors of all of the rest. All of the life in the forest comes from here.
I believe it. There's a quiet vibrance to this place. I walk a little bit slower, feeling as if I don't want to cause a disturbance. I trail behind Abigail, who seems totally indifferent to the atmosphere. It makes sense. She's probably used to it, and this place's luster has worn off for her. I can't help but gape. Without the snow that I've gotten so used to everywhere, this feels like a wholly different place. Another world altogether. Abigail leads me around one of the massive trees, and my jaw drops even further. There, crouched in a small clearing, is the forest spirit from the other night. The same one that stood in the storm and scared the hell out of Tara and me. Somehow, it's much smaller now than it was then, though still several feet taller than me. Yet one look into its piercing red eyes, and I know it's the same. It had been looking away, but turns to face us. Its body creaks and crackles as it moves, like an old door rattling in the wind. My breath catches in my throat as I fight down the instinctive rising terror. Pocks and scars decorate the bark that form its skin. Though it had a vaguely human form, its body is clearly wooden. Little trees wind together, interlocking to shape its body. It regards me with a kind of indifferent stare, similar to when we first witnessed it at the church. The impossibly red glow of its eyes is subtle now, and the previously winding and dying trees look more like its body is merely hugging itself. I look to Abigail to see her reaction, but she just watches the two of us with a slight smile, waiting to see what happens. That's when it hits me. This is your friend?
That's right.
She acts as plainly as if she just introduced me to a fellow human, not a mystical creature. Abigail leaves my side to go to the spirits, and she nuzzles her head against its side like a cat.
This spirit is the guardian of the forest. It helped me save you, just like it saved me long ago.
It shifts slightly to accommodate her, standing a little bit taller. It makes no vocalizations, though. Nothing close to speech. I see. I don't, really. Visions of its tall and imposing profile against the stormy sky really clash with what's in front of me now. But still, I know she's telling me the truth. I take a fraction of a step forward, expecting it to bare its teeth or warn me off somehow. It doesn't react, though. Does it have a name?
If it does, I don't know it. I just think of it as the forest spirit.
I think back to how Morgan had first described it, as the forest itself had come alive. I don't think she knew just how right she was. Its namelessness makes it feel even more wild and untamed. I can feel myself being regarded and judged by it, and I'm tempted to turn tail and run. I force myself to look up and to meet its gaze. When it stands tall, it's unnervingly silent. It reminds me of a grotesque scarecrow, in a sense. From my peripheral vision, I can see Abigail look between the spirit and I, probably wondering if she should say something more. Or, knowing her, wondering what to say. I preempt her. I've come to say thank you for intervening and for saving me. Abigail told me that you helped. I don't really know how I can ever repay you. I owe you my life, or, well, whatever's left of it. I'm not sure what I could even offer a supernatural tree spirit to begin with. Its eyes watch me, impassive. I swallow the lump in my throat and keep talking. I don't know what happens now, either. I'm still getting used to all of this, but again, thank you. Then, not knowing what else to do, I bow stiffly and step backwards. Still, it doesn't react. The whole thing is awkward and uncomfortable. But as with everything else, I'm at a loss. Can't have a conversation with the thing, and the details of what exactly it did are sparse. Feels like a waste to have come all this way for just a few sentences, but I'm not sure it even understood those. It occurs to me that I have no idea how much the forest spirit knows, or even cares, about the affairs of humans. I guess it must care at least a little since I'm here. The spirit turns its head to face Abigail, who smiles and pats its side. She says something to it, but I'm too far away to hear what. Then, as wordlessly as ever, the spirit rises and lumbers off into the forest without a second acknowledgement. Abigail watches it go. Then she turns and faces me with a bright smile.
So, what did you think?
She has all the pride of a child with a new toy. I stare after the spirit, still barely visible between the trees. I don't really know what I think. I'm part grateful, part terrified, part shocked. When I saw it before, I thought it had to be a monster or something. It just seemed so ferocious and huge that I assumed it was evil. So seeing it like that is weird.
It's certainly intimidating at first. When we first met, I was also rather fearful, but I quickly realized how kind and gentle it was, at least towards me.
I'm still brimming with curiosity over Abigail's own history, but she's made it clear that she doesn't want to tell me yet, so I won't pester her about it. Why wasn't it enormous this time?
It can make itself larger or smaller at will. The night that you saw it, it must have had a reason.
And you're able to talk to it and understand it?
Not quite. I speak to it, and it understands me, but it doesn't have any words or language. Some of its mannerisms I've picked up over time. We've had quite a long time to get to know each other, after all.
Right. Abigail walks over and links her arm around mine. I startle at the touch, but more so how casual she is about it.
Ready to go back to the church? Unless you'd rather stay here, in the forest. I imagine you'd be more comfortable with walls and a roof around you for now, though.
Yeah, I would be. Let's go back. Arm in arm, she leads the way back. Okay, I think that is a good place to stop for today. Thank you everyone for joining me, and we'll carry on with the marvelous mystery of Heart of the Woods next time. Bye bye.